Welcome to another edition of Tell Me How You're Mighty. And this is with Sarah Gorrell, Tracy Shawn, and this is the time of year I think it's quite challenging, Tracy, to be mighty because when people are unreasonable and we've got some astonishing submissions of people demonstrating some extensive festive unreasonable behaviour. That's when your mighty skills are put to their greatest test. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's definitely the time of year when people discover their chumps. A lot of people have D days, and my numbers go up at the blog. And yeah, I mean, it's a sad because it's hard to juggle a double life at the holiday. If you are a fuckwit, schmoopies get demanding, you're expected to be home, there's obligations, there's gift giving, all things that fuckwits are really bad at. So we asked for your submissions, and you guys delivered with the stories. So shall we start our first one here?
Yeah, let's start with a lovely Christmas Eve and what Jamie has to say.
It was Christmas Eve, and we needed to put together some gifts for our kids. He said that he was going to grab something to eat right quick and then come out to the garage and help me. I realized 2 hours later I was still in the garage by myself. I come into the house and he's sitting on the couch watching TV, and I lost my shit. I was like, I cannot believe you are sitting here on your fucking ass watching TV while I'm freezing my ass off in the garage putting together gifts. He says, it's Christmas time. Why you gotta act like that? I say, if it was your sister out here putting together gifts in the cold, you would have your ass up helping her. But for some reason, you can't find it within yourself to help me. He just sulked and came out and finally started helping by the time I was almost finished with the assembly. By that time, I really didn't even want him anywhere near me.
Oh my God. I'm sure you can relate to, I think putting the cheating part aside, I think so many people can relate to this whole spouse appliance thing where you're the person who's dutifully assembling the toys while he's watching TV or, totally checked out. And oh God.
It's what's staggering as well is that someone can sit and relax while they know
Yes.
full well that there's somebody out in the cold assembling all the gifts.
Yeah.
You'd be twitchy, wouldn't you? For a start, you'd think, well, they might come in and realize what I'm up to here. So you would be
Right.
twitchy, thinking, I can't fully relax. But no, 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 no. This individual was able to not only relax, but then sulk after being caught up to,
Yes.
out, being up to no good, or rather up to nothing, and
Right.
sulk and
Yeah.
come out and help in a begrudging manner. How
Right.
rude.
Right. How dare you? How dare you ask him? And the other part of this whole story is the bait and switch. Like she thinks she has consensus. Like we bought these gifts for our children. We're gonna go in the garage. We're gonna assemble them, right? He's agreeing to this. And then when it's actually time to show up in that cold garage and look at some instructions, he just checks out. And yeah, oh my God, the entitlement. I mean that's reason
They'll
enough to
be there for
divorce
the
him.
gift opening glory, though. You can guarantee that.
Well,
Be
yes.
there
Oh,
for
that
the social
bicycle.
media photos, the glory, the look at me,
Hmm.
I got you this gift, but never mind the toil, the cold, the assembling in the garage related to antics. Should we
Yeah.
see if anyone can top this? Let's see what Jennifer has to say.
Hey, Tracy and Sarah. So, on my last Christmas with my cheater, after I told him I wanted a divorce, I decided to do a little retail therapy and bought myself some gorgeous boots using my own money. Fuckwit saw them and asked if I liked them. And I said I did. I thought they looked great. And he got this smug look and said, well, Merry Christmas to you. I'm glad I could get you something you liked. Anyhow, a couple days later, I got a notification in my email that my cheater had used my Amazon account and the connected credit card, also mine, to buy a Christmas present for Schmoopy. So I logged on and canceled the order. He then became absolutely livid that I had dared to do that because now Schmoopy's Christmas present would arrive late.
Oh boy. I mean, the the nerve of this guy to take her Amazon account and buy gifts for the affair
Well,
partner.
there's a
I
couple of things here. There's not only nerve, there's also extensive stupidity because
yeah.
surely you would realize that you steal somebody else's details, their account, you pay on their credit card, and that they're going to get the details of the order. That's kind of how it generally works.
That's right. That's right. I know. It was brazen, wasn't it? It was brazen. What is, I can't even imagine what's going on in this guy's head, but, and then he like thanks himself for a gift that she bought herself.
I know, I know.
You
Well,
know,
there's probably
I
a
guess it was
pattern throughout.
sarcasm.
There's sort of been a pattern through the whole relationship. But I love that. What again? I like from this of dislike. It's kind of a pattern, isn't it? That you get caught out on some appalling behaviour.
Hmm.
You know, the present is cancelled. He's cross,
Yes.
absolutely furious,
Oh,
absolutely beside himself. No, no sort of. "Oh, I'm really sorry. That was outrageous behaviour." No, he's cross.
yeah. He's horrible. How dare you? I it it is funny. I mean, I have to say I had the reverse of this experience, and I'm telling tales on myself, but um, I did a credit report, which is a gray area of the law, on my cheating then husband, and I found that he had credit cards I didn't know about, and at any rate, he had a little slush fund for his double life, and I went to Amazon, and just to test this out, I found this card. I like bought, and it wasn't maybe like $50 or something worth of like a book or something, just to test like, is this thing like an active card? And sure enough, it was an active card, and it went through. And then because I'm chumpy, I told him about it, but I was like busted. I'm like, you have like other money that you're hiding. And he was indignant, and canceled the purchase, which I should have just never said anything. I just should have let that box arrive, because I'm sure, who knows? I don't know if he would have gotten an email, or it would have been nice to have him like call me out on the account that I wasn't supposed to know about. But I was the chump in that scenario. This guy's the cheater. And then he's using her money to buy his schmoopy gifts. Oh, fuck him. Oh my God.
It is staggering. Let's go on to another one. This is from Louisa.
Yeah.
Every year as the holiday season begins, my depression also begins. Apparently, my body remembers the trauma it went through, even before I was aware of it. In November 2021, about half a year before my first D-Day, I had shingles. I didn't realize that it was exactly at that time that the ex-fuckwit was fucking his AP. And he would pretend that it was a jolly good time, and he called me and asked me to look underneath the cushion of a couch, and I found a typewritten letter. And he wrote in the letter, "My dearest, I'm happy you found the card. You always said you wanted me to type a letter to you, and your wish was granted. Even though we're separated today, I want you to know that of all the things I'm thankful for, you are at the top of my list." The top of your list, my ass.
Oh, this one was sad. I mean, the fact that she's got shingles, she gets sick, and yeah, I mean, that's the whole the body keeps score, right? I mean, she's being cheated on and she doesn't know it, and she's getting this immune disorder. But the other thing is to have a D-Day, and then he makes this weird loving gesture of the note under the cushion. I'm like, oh, what's that about? Cake? Like, I don't know.
And also, it's the staggering level of lack of self-awareness. You're at the top of my list. Well, if that's the top of my list, then I wouldn't like to be at the bottom of it because, it's not exactly impressive top of list behavior, is it really?
No, no, yeah. And she went on, she wrote more. She left the message, but she also wrote a note to say that included with the cushion note was a little check to buy herself something. Meanwhile, he was in Thailand with his schmoopy, so he bought himself a very nice trip. But he was thinking of her. She was top of the list, top of the list. I mean, to me, this is just pure impression management. He thinks, God, he must think he's just splendid, What a thoughtful guy. What a thoughtful guy. All
Now
right.
we have it in the past. I think we've sort of done episodes in the past where it's been revealed that Christmas actually it's a really difficult time to conduct a double life. When you've got all the family functions, the party, all these things that and actually Stephanie's story demonstrates how that can be a tricky rope to walk on when it's Christmas and people are getting together. Let's hear Stephanie's story.
Stephanie says, I was explaining to my young children how mistletoe works. Now, X was on one side of the kitchen, and we were on the other. I explained about if two people found themselves under it, they kiss. It's a tradition. We had a community park in our neighborhood that the X would walk the kids to. My very smart 5-year-old at the time asked if it worked under trees, because Daddy kissed neighbor under a tree at the park. The X flew across the kitchen over to us and changed the subject. That's how I found out about the neighbor and their park hookups.
Oh, mistletoe. It'll give you away every time. I mean, the poor 5-year-old kid. It's kind of when the children are the people who make the discoveries and tell the chump parent, it's a special ring of hell and pain. But it's also perversely funny, which is why we collect these stories. So,
and actually, the fact that he was prepared to carry on in this fashion in front of the children, that definitely shows a level of dysfunction that most people you just wouldn't even. We all know that children say things. He was going to get. It was going to happen at some point that child was going to say something, but the level of arrogance that he thought that's fine to have a little bit of a kiss under the mistletoe in front of the kids.
Yeah, well, he was snogging in the park, right? And so then the little girl was like, "Oh, is there mistletoe trees on the trees in the park?" But yes, to your point, it's brazen for him to be kissing anybody in front of his kids, and he underestimated that 5-year-old girl, right? To his dishonor, like she was on it. He probably thought, "Oh, this kid, is a dumb kid. She's not going to pay any attention." She was paying attention.
Now, I suspect Natalie was probably the one assembling the presents, doing the work, doing everything, organising the gifts for the family. And then this happened. So let's hear Natalie's story.
Natalie says, I spent last Christmas with Fuckwit and his family, who all knew he was planning on leaving me. I just cluelessly handed out presents and ate Christmas dinner. The affair partner didn't come to light until a couple of weeks later. But man, do I feel stupid.
Oh, this one is just... I mean, Natalie, don't feel stupid. You're handing out presents because you were deceived, because that's what... And you're gift giving because you're a loving partner, and that's what you do with the holidays. You give gifts to the people you love. So, but yeah, I understand feeling duped. You're like, oh, had I only known, I would not do that, right? But it's not your stupid to wear. It's his stupid.
Well, actually, I think the fact that everybody knew, though, I think that's the really upsetting thing.
Yeah.
Well,
his family all knew.
Yeah,
She's
they knew.
giving them gifts.
They knew. His
Right.
family
They're the
knew.
stupid
That's
people.
awful. That's awful. So they're all equally, to get to collude in that is pretty horrendous. Just awful behaviour and very upsetting. Let's just hope that Natalie, Christmas is you spend Christmas with more reasonable individuals this year.
People who deserve you. I mean, and you are not the stupid one. I would just say they're all stupid. All right, we got Jake here. This one kind of gave me a chuckle.
Jake says, I found Merry Christmas nude pics of my fuckwit. When confronted, she said, obviously I didn't take the pics on Christmas. I just sent them. 1, as if that matters at all. 2, she absolutely took them Christmas morning. They were time-stamped.
What do you think of the Merry Christmas nude pictures? That's
So
quite a Christmas card.
I like the justification that they didn't take them on Christmas, just sent them because it's as if that just sending them is okay. It's fine. You just carry on sending you new, as long as it's not on Christmas Day, that's
Yeah.
absolutely okay behavior. So
Yeah,
there.
except she did send them on Christmas because it's time stamped, right? She did. She did. But yeah, it's that bitch cookie thing. It's like, okay, I took nude holiday pictures, but I didn't defile Christmas Day. But except you did. And does it really matter? And also, I'm like, how cheesy were these pictures? Like, I mean, I don't know. Were there like Santa
We don't want to
hats?
know. We
I
don't
don't
want
want
to
to know.
imagine. But someone will have been delighted to receive this festive naked offering. But obviously,
There was
it went.
mistletoe instead of fig leaf. I don't know.
Who
I don't know.
really
My
wants to?
mind goes to dark places.
No, we don't want to think about that. Often it's the gift and the lack of thought that goes into a gift that gives people away. Let's see what Kristen has to say.
After the first D-Day, when I took him back, that Christmas, he gave me a Kia keychain. That's it. I don't drive a Kia.
Okay. She doesn't drive a Kia. So this one, I'm like, is the guy just, first of all, it's a keychain. So this is a really cheap, crappy gift. But he can't keep his wife and his schmoopies apart. Like, they can't remember what car they drive. I'm like, yeah. I guess we're all just all interchangeable or something. It's a staggeringly shitty
Like the
gift.
story I read in the paper of the woman who realised that her husband was having an affair because he bought a pair of shoes for her and they were the wrong size by about three sizes. And then she realised that he'd bought two pairs of the identical shoes, one for her and one for the other woman, and he just happened to get the sizes mixed up. And you just
Yeah.
think, it just shows a level, but a key, a key check, and that is not a good present, whatever way you look at it, whether you're the other woman or whether it's your present as a partner.
Yeah. I mean, was there a key attached to the key? And even that, you got like a cheap car. It's just it's bad. However you cut it. But I'm glad it was the tip off that you were dealing with a cheater, and hopefully Kristen has a better life these days. So our next story is it's a bit of an involved one, but it's a Christmas tale.
Bria says, Fuckwit loved Christmas. He was also a very talented singer. For over a decade, he performed at an annual community event. It was an incredibly special family tradition for us. The kids have watched him sing in this event for as long as they can remember. His parents come, a ton of our friends come, but it is open to the public. Last year, on Black Friday, Fuckwit voluntarily worked when he had a paid day off, which was off-brand for him. Then he texted me saying he wanted to go out for drinks with his coworkers after work. I knew something was up, and when I got home, I asked if he was cheating with a coworker. He swore he wasn't, but told me he was giving up on the marriage. 1 week later, at the annual event, I felt prompted to look at the crowd to see who was in the small audience. Nearby, I see one of his coworkers, dressed to impress. In that moment, I knew. D-Day occurred immediately upon arriving home from the event. So, Fuckwit invited his affair partner to a holiday event that was sacred to our family. He stood there and sang Christmas songs about Jesus while his wife, kids, parents, and friends sat seats away from the undergrad he was sleeping with. Next week, this annual event is happening, and my daughter is singing in the same place he always did. He's not invited. We are determined to redeem the space and reclaim this holiday tradition.
Oh boy. What do you... I like how she took her tradition back, Bria. What do you think about the Christmas soloist and inviting the affair partner to hear you warble with your family?
I just again, it's this staggering lack of empathy, this staggering entitlement. Of course, he wants to show off, doesn't he? Because that's what he does. And
You think he gets a thrill? Like, I mean, I think they do get a certain amount of a frisson of danger and delight inviting affair partners to occasions where the family is, and the unknowing chumpdom and the conspiracy of that. And I mean, there's all that could be a whole separate podcast of like, what were you doing that you were unaware that the affair partner was there? But that does seem to be a real cheater MO. Like, and again, it's so narcissistic. It's all about me. I'm having a solo, or, I'm singing, and we were all going to come and give me kibbles and worship me and say how awesome I am. And you're all kind of interchangeable. You're just attention to that guy.
Well, he's probably having to relocate himself and find another space to sing, another audience to sing to, and no doubt he will do that. We've got some other. I mean, I can relate to this next one because I have a lot of people for Christmas. It's hard work. So let's hear the next one.
Lee says, Thanksgiving 2012. I have twin 2-year-olds and hosting 23 for dinner. Asked Fuckwit to blow leaves off back deck and bring extra chairs in from the garage. 2 hours before people are expected, still not done. I am starting to panic getting it all done. So I go to ask one more time for him to do it so I can finish the table. He gets up, grabs his coat, walks out, and didn't come back till the next day. Went to Atlantic City. Then comes home the next day with gifts and a sad, sad story about how he couldn't handle the family closeness as it wasn't something he experienced as a kid. And I forgave that. My family was polite, but never forgave him.
Oh, man. First of all, I don't know how she had twin toddlers and cooked Thanksgiving dinner for 23 people. That was an insane task to begin with. But then, I mean, the guy leaves for Atlantic City. He just does this like no-show on her. I think at that point, like the next day, I would have to be filing divorce papers. Who abandons Thanksgiving? I mean, you're sitting there showing up. Oh my God, that's just so next level. I don't know. Did your ex ever do a disappearing act on you?
Oh, all the time, yeah.
Oh.
Quite often. But she forgave him. That's what I find incredible. The family were polite, but never forgave him, which I completely understand. But yeah, it's just staggering. I mean, I've told you my ex's disappearing story, which was actually on Christmas Day, where he spent Christmas morning with me and then said he needed to go and have a think about his behaviour and go for a soulful wander along the beach. And he went off for another Christmas with the other woman. Two Christmases, one with us and one with her. And I only discovered it when the credit card bill came in for all the presents that he bought her. His justification was well, she bought me lots of presents. I had to get her lots of presents as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was while you were begging me to take you back. That was normal behaviour that was going on here.
Oh my God. They're such fuckwits. That's why we call them fuckwits, right? We don't have psychological diagnoses, but fuckwit will do the job. Yeah, I'm sorry to lay. I mean, the disappearing act and then he has a sad sausage story. Instead of apologizing, and that was unforgivable of me, it's all so hard for him. He has, he can't cope at the holidays. There's just too many people in it.
Never mind her that has to cope with the family and explaining and toddlers as well. That's,
And cooking and cleaning and I'm just like, oh my God, I think the family should have formed a posse and hunted him down in Atlantic City. And in Atlantic City, I don't know if you know where Atlantic City is, but Atlantic City is like a casino. It's a town of casinos and cheesy, bad boardwalk entertainment. So he's not going to like Gary, Indiana. He's not going to some sad, boring place. He's going to a place with bars and slot machines. That's where he went. So he's a loser, and I hope he's gone. Oh. Our next one. So we've done, and I think it's my favorite episode, terrible cheater gifts. This one could go in Susan's submission here, could go in the terrible cheater gifts.
Susan writes, for years, he would buy a single perfume item at the mall, just expensive enough to get the gift with purchase. Then he would break up the gift with purchase, like break it down into the individual makeup, brushes, and the purse mirror, and the zipper bag. It all came in, you get the idea, and wrap up each separately. He expected me to ooh and ah and thank him profusely. After the second year, I had more than enough perfume and told him as much. But he persisted. Then I noticed he'd stashed some of the gift with purchase items in his medicine cabinet. Guess when they showed up? Anniversary, birthday, Mother's Day. I just can't even. Eventually, the perfume fell off the gift, and all I'd unwrap would be a random zip pouch or single lipstick. Have at him, ladies. He's available.
Your reaction, Sarah?
Well, again, it's what I say is that but let's refer back to the Kia keychain, and it's A, a lack of thought, and B, a fundamental sense of meanness, and not even thinking. A, you're not thinking about a gift. A good gift is where you really think about the other person and you get something they really want. It's not really about how much you spend it, but the idea. The idea with stashing away your little bits of what you bought and
free
buying
cosmetics,
free
right?
stuff as well.
Yeah,
It's just awful.
it's so
Distributing
incredibly
them through the year, not even making an effort on these big occasions, just distributing them.
It's so, yeah, mean is a good word in both senses of it, being stingy and also being cruel. But like, does he not understand that women know how cosmetics work and that generally they have these little freebie giveaway things when you buy something? Like who hasn't seen that? So does he really think it's going to be a surprise when you open up, oh, the makeup brush? Like, I mean, I'm just staggered. Like he either knows or he doesn't care. And both are bad. He either knows this is a really shitty, cheap thing to do, and he does it anyway, or he's so witless that he doesn't know how this works, and he thinks he's going to like fool her, and she's going to think this is somehow generous of him. It's either way. It's like a deal breaker. This guy does not deserve anyone in his life. And
not funny that he's available with his thoughtful gift opportunity.
ladies, he's on the dating sites, have at him.
Right, this next one is another gift related. And again, gifts at this time of year do often demonstrate some interesting insights into character. So let's hear the next one.
Catherine writes, one Christmas, Fuckwit had a gift for our youngest under the tree. When I inquired as to who it was from, he told me an elderly female co-worker had an extra gift for their grandchild who didn't need it, and sent it to my 6-year-old child. It was really his employee affair partner, 20 years younger, who he has introduced to our child at work. It was a large, soft, round, stuffed unicorn with a rainbow mane my child dubbed Sparkles, and my kid loved that thing, slept with it, took it to school on Stuffed Animal Day, carried it everywhere. But one day Sparkles disappeared, and no one could find it. We thought that our kid had accidentally left it behind somewhere, but was inconsolable for weeks. Even at 13, it still makes the child sad if you mention it. Later, during separation, he confessed to me that Sparkles was a gift from Schmoopy, that they had broken up, and Fuckwit felt guilty, so he threw Sparkles away in the dumpster to ease his conscience. The cruelty.
Oh, poor Sparkles, man. Sparkles, I mean, on the one hand, I can understand. You don't want your kid carrying around a toy that the other woman gave them, but the poor kid. Of course, she didn't know that. She just thought it was Sparkles the unicorn, and it was some, old coworker who gave the child the gift. But he's not thinking of anybody, is he?
Poor Sparkles, though, came to a sticky end at the after all of this. He was the innocent party, really, in proceedings. Didn't ask to be bought and presented in such a fashion.
Yeah, isn't that a metaphor for something? I'm always saying unicorns, but in this case, the unicorn got trashed. There's no unicorn here. Sorry, Sparkles. Okay, our next one is from Dawn.
Dawn says, in the 12 years, he bought me gifts only one Christmas and one Valentine's Day. He didn't believe he should be forced to buy gifts on holidays dictated by the societal rules. Of course, he loved that he always got gifts. I didn't feel the need to fill my own stocking the year my daughter no longer believed in Santa. She noticed and asked him why my stocking was empty. I told her I decided not to do mine that year. She looked puzzled, and he glared at me. He later said I made him feel bad, and that if I wasn't going to fill it, I should have let him know so he didn't look like a jerk. Side note, my daughter has insisted on filling my stocking every year since. She's 21 now.
You know you're dealing with a fuckwit when they're like, I refuse to be dictated to by holidays. Valentine's Day is an artificial holiday, or I don't believe in
Well, no,
Christmas.
but they're happy to be dictated to if people are buying them the gifts, just if it's the other way around and they're having to do something.
Yeah, no, it's completely unfair. I'm like, she doesn't get a stocking and she has to fill her own stocking. Isn't being single a million times better than that? Now her daughter still fills her stocking, but the withholding, it's the worst. I mean, good God. He's okay to get a stocking, but leave her as empty.
I know, and she should have let him know as well. It's if she wasn't going to fill her own, that's just awful. He cares about the impression management, but not about how she actually feels.
Yeah, that's a theme. Okay, let's do Lisa, our next one.
Lisa says, the last Christmas before divorce proceedings, he gifted me his old iPod, the one he had engraved, to himself, and bought himself a new one.
Yeah, you wouldn't want this in your stocking, would you? Somebody else's old iPod with an engravement to himself. Lovely.
And he bought himself a new one. So it's not a wrapped up makeup brush, but here's a cast off. You can have my old thing and be grateful for it. I've dedicated it to myself. God. All right. Our next exciting submission.
Angela says, after 3 years, I told him it was time to finally give me a ring, and I woke up Christmas morning to a bottle of vodka and a Nintendo gift card.
Oh, that's really bad when you tell somebody what you want and then they set out to disappoint you.
Well, this is the other thing, isn't it? Never have expectations with these people.
No.
It will end in tears. So there's not much you can say to that, really, is it? I hope that after that gift that you were sort of, fairly quickly on your way away from that relationship.
Yeah, or you broke the bottle of vodka over his head. I don't know. Like I said, these stories give me dark thoughts. Okay, our next one, Karen and the botched surgery.
Karen says, 2 weeks ago, my fuckwit ended up having a botched surgery right before Thanksgiving, and I was in the ICU for 6 weeks. I never left his side, and of course, spent Christmas Day with him while he was fighting for his life. The emergency doctor saved his life. When he finally awoke, but still in the fog, I decided to go through his phone to get a card campaign going, only, you guessed it, to find out about all his emotional affairs and hooker habit. I found a few gifts he had purchased for Christmas, which included an ankle bracelet for my daughter with her name on it. And, oh yeah, there was a bracelet for one of his hookers with her name on it. It wasn't hard to find her in his phone, as she was listed by name. I found a plethora of names of hookers labeled using sex acts, body description names, or locations including big boobs, good BJ, tiny tits, etc. My gift was the confirmation of some of my red flags, which I foolishly ignored.
Okay, the ankle bracelets, really? Ankle bracelets for the hookers and your daughter? Now that just is, there's something strange going on there. Like what? Like, oh.
I just find this disturbing finding of all these names and
Orifices.
parts and it's just it's awful. And the fact that this was confirmation of red flags ignored, and I think quite often the festive season is the time that those red flags suddenly become a reality and you can no longer ignore them, because it's that, as we were saying earlier, it's that time of year where this all comes to a head. So the double life, the cheating, it becomes too difficult to manage.
Yeah, well, having names for hookers and they're listed by the sex acts they perform It's pretty next level. I don't think we're dealing with red flags anymore. This is like immediate divorce summons stuff. There's nothing to be done here. Oh my God.
Catherine says, Christmas 2022, my fuckwit stayed home while I went to the UK to nurse my dying father. He sent me photos of his sad, lonely Thanksgiving turkey that he cooked for himself, and we had daily phone calls where he played up his solitary holiday existence. Fast forward to May of 2023, where my D-Day came through the magic of Alexa speaker, privacy settings. I listened to hours of holiday Alexa requests of the cheesiest Christmas songs and joyful frivolity of Stupid Fuckwit and Some Giddy Woman. Turned out he moved his 30-year younger schmoopy into my home and bed for holiday fun, while my dad and his father-in-law for 35 years was living his last days. Needless to say, his holidays are no longer of any interest to me. Good riddance.
So, I mean, this is really hard. I know we're both at the stage of life where you're dealing with aging parents, but to be attentive to a dying parent and the whole time being cheated on, again, it's a next level chumpdom. My heart goes out to her. And but I also learned something. I didn't know, I don't have one of those Alexas, play me whatever, the little automated Amazon voices or Siri or whatever. So I didn't realize that they record, that they can tell you like who's, they're recording your voice as well as your requests. So that's how she found out. Did you know that was a thing?
No idea. I didn't know that. Fortunately, I haven't been exposed to that level of I mean, it must have been horrendous, and particularly given the circumstances as well. And again, you just think, all right, yeah, upgrade or whatever you think you're doing for a much younger model, which is totally ridiculous behavior anyway. But in the circumstances to carry on like that, it's and probably not feel one moment of self-awareness of how revolting you're being. It's staggering.
Well, and to fuck somebody in your own bed too, that's next level transgressiveness. And we've discussed that before too. But I mean, yeah, I mean, he must hate her, and they're together 35 years, it's his father-in-law that's dying. All he can think about is banging some much younger woman. Yeah. Yeah. Well, God, I can't wait till he's old and dying. I mean, nobody's going to come to
This
him.
younger woman has got. I just figured that the younger woman would have find this attractive, but nothing ceases to amaze me. We've got our final submission now.
All right.
Josie says, last December, I received a package in the mail addressed to me, and the return address was literally Sesame Street. I thought maybe someone sent a Christmas gift for my kids. Fuckwit and I were still living under the same roof. I open it, and it's a dumb matching pair of keychains, each with a half heart and the names of Fuckwit and Schmoopy, and a Spotify song code of a trite love song. I call Fuckwit, upset, and instead of apologizing for not putting his own damn name on the package, he accused me of a federal crime for opening his mail, and said, everyone fills out me in the name field when ordering stuff, and said I never deserved a gift like that when we were together, which I agree with because $13 Temu bullshit tchotchkes are not my style. Regarding breaking the law, I reminded him that his new, still married to his coworker girlfriend, was the one with a felony conviction for sleeping with a 15-year-old when she was a 25-year-old church youth group leader. His lack of apology pissed me off so much that I posted a picture of the gift to Facebook, which led to some people messaging me to say sorry, but also to tell me about his years of cheating that I had no idea about.
Josie, oh my God. Who addresses a package to me? Me, like me. It just has to come to me. And it's from Sesame Street. I mean, like, the whole thing is just crazy. And, okay, this story delivers on many fronts. The cheesy, schmoopy gift of the little keychain and the songs, like the little heart. Oh my God, what are you, like in the 8th grade? These are adults doing this? Oh my God. And that he's so incensed that she went through the mail. I mean, nobody knows who Mimi is, right? So how do you know she opened the wrong package?
I think what this highlights though is that actually, although this is upsetting, although probably for a lot of people listening, Christmas will bring back some awful memories. It's an opportunity to finally, realize what's been going on, to realize those red flags were exactly that, and to move on and to hopefully celebrate the fact that these people are firmly consigned to the past, the last Christmas, the
They're in
definite
the
last.
bin with Sparkles the unicorn.
Let's not, yeah, exactly. Go where Sparkles went, and let's have a new year with some new behaviour and some better behaviour. And maybe that should be our next episode, actually, as we head towards Christmas. And we've talked about the negatives of Christmas, but what about the positives afterwards when people realise that this Christmas will be the last Christmas? What
Yeah.
about the new
New,
year,
yeah,
the,
new,
the,
new
the new
traditions.
beginnings?
Yeah. All right. That'll be our next episode. I'll put it up on the social media, and we'll see you next week. That wraps another episode of Tell Me How You're Mighty. You want to leave us a mighty story or a fuckwit of the week submission? Check out our new website, tellmehowyourmighty.com. That's yours spelt Youre. We've got all the episodes, show notes, links to our guests, and you can see the tea room where Sarah and I first met. If you enjoyed this episode, please review the podcast and follow us. Thanks. See you next week.